Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Mariella, and my channel is In the Kitchen with Mariella. But today, we are not going to be in the kitchen. Today, we are going to talk about a subject that is near and dear to my heart. So, come on, let's get started with this conversation. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Domestic violence is something very near and dear to my heart. I am a survivor of domestic violence. And with that, a lot of you probably did not know that. Domestic violence is on the rise in the United States and probably all over the world. In 2020, there was over 15,000 domestic homicides. I'm sure that number is over 25,000 today, 4 years later, because it is on the rise. I'm hoping that by making this video that we can bring awareness to domestic violence. I have something that I want to read to you, just in case you're not for sure what domestic violence is. Intimate partners of violence can occur in many different forms, regardless of whether it is physical, emotional, or takes some other form of abuse. The following an escalating pattern in which the controlling behavior worsens over time. There is physical abuse. Perhaps most recognized form of physical abuse may include behaviors such as hitting, slapping, punching, kicking, burning, strangulation, damaging personal properties, refusing medical care, and or controlling medications. Coercing their partner into substance abuse and use of a weapon. Then there is also emotional abuse. Emotional abuse occurs when an intimate partner seeks to control his or her loved one by name calling, insulting, blaming the partner for everything, extreme jealousy, intimidation, shaming, humiliating, isolating, controlling what the partner does and where the partner goes. Stalking. Sexual abuse is not about the sex. It is about power and includes any sexual behavior performed without the partner's consent. Examples include forcing a partner to have having sex with other people, human trafficking. Pursuing sexual activities when the partner is not fully conscious or is afraid to say no. Hurting the partner during sexual during sex, coercing the partner into sex without protection, sabotaging birth control. Then there is the form of technological abuse. And this happens a lot among the younger generation, but it can also happen to anybody. Technological abuse is I scrolled too far. Hacking into a partner's email, personal accounts, using tracking devices in a partner's cell phone to monitor their location, phone calls and messages, monitoring interactions via social media, demanding to know the partner's passwords, financial abuse. Any behavior that maintains power and control over finances contributes to financial abuse. Examples include a partner to lose their job through direct or indirect means, such as causing physical harm or injury so the partner cannot go to work, harassing the partner at the workplace, controlling financial assets, damaging the partner's credit score, and another thing that financial abuse is making the partner give them money all the time. And there are many other types of abuse. Now, why is this so hard for the victim to leave the abusive partner? Leaving can be dangerous. A lot of times, the abuser will threaten physical harm, even death, to the victim, children of the victim, other family members. Hold on. Isolation. Normally, the abuser isolates their victim, so the victim has nobody they can call to help them because they've lost contact with everybody. The cycle of abuse. After they abuse their victim, then they promise, I'll never do it again. I love you. And all these other things, they lay it on really thick. So with that hope, then the victim never leaves. Lack of resources. The abuser makes sure that the victim never has the resources to be able to leave. The fear of stalking, that if you leave, then they're going to find you. And what's going to happen when they find you? So now I'm sure you're wondering, why would a person ever stay with an abuser? Well, let me tell you one thing. An abuser, when you first meet an abuser, they're not going to tell you that I'm an abuser and eventually I am going to physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, sexual, and financially abuse you. No, they don't tell you that. Because if they did, they would never get any victims. Instead, what an abuser will do is they will do their homework and their research. And they will see what kind of other relationships that you have been in and why you're no longer in that relationship. They will find out everything, all the reasons why you left that relationship or are no longer in it. And then what they do is, in the beginning, they become the person. They become the perfect mate. When you tell them, when you give them examples like, we're not together because he didn't pay no attention to me. He called me fat. He called me ugly. So then what the abuser does is, then the abuser does just the opposite. Oh, you're not fat. You're beautiful just the way you are. And then they spend all their time with you. They will make you fall head over heels in love with them. And even though in your mind you know that it's wrong to be in an abusive relationship, your heart doesn't follow your mind. Because you think back at how they were in the beginning. How there is no way that this person could be so horrible when they were so loving. And it's a very hard bond to break. And when I think back at some of the things that I've went through, it's like, how come I just couldn't leave? And honestly, and I will be honest with all of you, even though I physically left 3 years ago, last year, I went back to Columbus on several occasions and hooked up with him. And probably would have still, if my car wouldn't have broke down, probably still would have been going back. But about a month ago, he called me on the phone, and he has a habit of, he'll call and he'll call and he'll call and he'll call, and we'll talk on the phone. And then all at once, he stops calling. And he won't call for 3 or 4 months. And then he'll start calling again. Well, that's how it was last month. I hadn't heard from him in like 4 months. And then he called. And he called a couple days in a row. And when he calls, we're on the phone 8-9 hours a day. The last time I heard from him, and it will be the last time I heard from him, he made a comment that I needed to get my car fixed so I could come and visit, because he hadn't had no loving in 3 months. And I said, what do you mean 3 months? He said, you know what I mean. He said, it's been 3 months. I said, it's been a year since I've seen you. So that tells me that you've been getting your lovings from somebody else. And at that point in time, I was done. It's like, okay, I'm over this. And he said, you're putting words in my mouth. No, I didn't put words in your mouth. Those words came out of your mouth. And you thought that I was going to either ignore what I heard, or I didn't hear them. But I did hear them. So as far as I'm concerned right now, it is over. It is completely over. And I am moving on with my life. And like I said, in the beginning, for the first year, this is the perfect man that you ever wanted to be in a relationship for. But after that first year, it became hell. Now, let me give you some things that you can do if you are in a domestic violence situation, or if you know somebody or suspect somebody is in a domestic violence situation. If you think somebody is in a domestic violence situation, approach the person at a time and a place that is safe and confidential. Start by expressing your concerns, such as, I'm worried about your safety. I'm concerned someone is hurting you. Take time to listen and believe what they say. Communicate that you care about them, about their safety, that they do not deserve to be hurt, and that the abuse is not their fault. Tell them they are not crazy. A person who has been abused often feels upset, depressed, confused, and scared. Let them know that these are normal feelings. Tell them good things about themselves. You tell, if you are being abused, you need to tell yourself that you are a good person, that you are a beautiful person, and what the abuser is saying is not true, when you know it's not true, that it's not true. Because an abuser will convince you that what they're saying is true. Even though you know in your mind it's not true, they will badger you until you actually believe that what they say is true. And if you're a friend to somebody that you suspect is being abused, when they confide stuff in you, don't go telling everybody else. Keep it to yourself and try to help them. Try to help them get out of that situation. Because I'm telling you, too many people have died at the hands of other people due to a domestic violence situation. Respect their choices. Encourage them. Encourage them to contact somebody to help them. Do not be the counselor. Give them, do the research, give them the information so they can contact the proper people to get them counseling and help. If the victim finally leaves and needs a place to stay, open your door and your heart and give it to them. Give them a safe place. And then contact the national hotline, and they will hook you up with a domestic violence shelter in your area so you can get these people to safety. One other thing. Don't be stupid like me. Because the first time I was abused, I called the police. They came out and they looked at me and they said, because he choked me. He choked me to the point that I was almost unconscious. And the police looked at me and they said, we see no marks on your neck, so we can't take him to jail for domestic violence. 3 days later, I ended up with bruises on my neck from his fingers choking me. Because they wouldn't do nothing that first time, I never called him again. Don't be like me. Every time you get abused, you call the police. There has to be a record for the court system to be able to prosecute these abusers. So please, if you are being abused, or if you know somebody that you suspect is being abused, please help them. Now I'm going to give you a phone number to call. It is the phone number to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It is 1-800-799-7233. Once again, that phone number is 1-800-799-7233. You call that number. They will get you in touch with the domestic violence shelter in your area. and they will help you get the help that you need to get out of this situation. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Once again, the reason I say what I say at the end of every one of my videos is because it means a lot to me. Don't let anyone steal your sunshine or your smile. Have a good day. Bye-bye.